All right. This one's not really phrased as a question, but I'll just say it.
Yeah.
I haven't seen you discuss time and the possibility that it does not exist in the same way as we think of here. You have kind of talked about
I have
this.
talked about this, but the reality is, again, the spirits who talk about the non-existence of time, all are spirits in very poor condition. Mm-hmm. The reason why time does not exist to them is because they have they are aware that they're not going to die, and therefore they're not conscious of anything other than what they're doing right now. They're not trying to plan for the future because there's no need to plan for the future so much anymore, because planning for the future is usually done by people who are afraid of the future.
Yeah.
So the reality is there is time does exist, and who knows? There may be places in the universe. When I say who knows, there are places in the universe where time slows down and where time speeds up. Time is a flexible concept where time can slow down and time can speed up. Yeah. And this is what Einstein's theory of relativity was talking about, really. Yeah. Now, from God's perspective, there is no such thing as time, really, because God exists outside of the universe. Now, as we approach God, we get into a condition where we're less and less and less concerned about time. And I believe eventually, the more we come to approach God, the more we'll finish up feeling that time, that time can be examined from all times, if you like, and
from all angles, not a specific point that we exist within it.
Yes, and from God's perspective, God can touch to all time. However, in this universe, time cannot be reversed. Everything moves forward from the current position onwards.
Yeah.
And this is something that we must understand. In fact, a lot of chaos would be caused if this was not the case in the physical universe, and also in the spirit universe, by the way. Time does move forward. There are events that happen that were past in time. And in the spirit world, every single spirit, when we speak to them, you will find that they all have, while they say, oh, well, time's different for us than here, of course it's different for them, because emotionally there's no negative connotation about having a limited time. But the reality is there are events that happen in the past and there are events that happen in the future. Also, we can only do a certain amount of things on Earth in a certain period of time. The more progressed you become, the more you can compress into a shorter period of time. So you're capable of doing more and taking more actions in a shorter period of time than you would be here on Earth, right? And this is one reason also why spirits say time is different in the spirit world, because the more you progress in the spirit world, the more aware you become that you can accomplish a lot more in a shorter period of time.
So it seems as if time that was there before, a time that existed before, suddenly it appears to them that it's not the same. It's the limitations
for example,
of time.
A celestial spirit, if I give an example. A celestial spirit, 5 minutes ago, between now and 5 minutes ago, might have accomplished what we accomplished in 100 years on Earth. So from their memory's perspective, 5 minutes ago, they did a whole heap of things that we would be remembering 100 years ago have done. Right? So can you see straight away that because you can accomplish such a large amount of things in a short period of time, you now have a different concept of time. You now realise that this can be done, that can be done, this can be done, that can be done. And when you come to Earth, you feel the limitation of the slow down of how everything works. So here, everything feels like, oh, it's really slow. And this is why spirits often do not get times right when it comes to predictions. Because from their perspective, it's going to happen just next week or the next moment.
It feels imminent.
But it might be 100 years for us before that happens. Right? And it depends on what kind of spirit is sharing that information as to how far forward they can actually see.
And it also depends on how the medium interprets the feeling from the spirit. The spirit has their feeling is, oh, it's just going to happen really soon. So the medium picks up this feeling, it's going to happen soon, when really it's just that they feel that it is pretty soon, 100 years' time. A celestial
spirit feels 100 years' time is very soon. From but also celestial spirit knows that in 100 years of Earth time, they can accomplish an immense amount of tasks in that time. And so you can hardly even remember if somebody says, what were you doing in the spirit world 100 years ago?
Yeah.
Wow, that there's a lot that's passed between now and 100 years ago.
Yeah.
And to remember all of that requires a desire to go back to the events of the day and try to work out and remember what happened. You have a memory of it all, but it is so obscured by the number of events that has occurred in that time.
Yeah.
That you almost forget what's happened unless somebody brings it up.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. And just something else that occurred to me while you were talking about the linear, that time is...
Time is still linear.
Is linear. There's a past and there's a future.
Yes.
And things did happen in the past. And the very nature of the way God's designed causes and effects
universe.
And our human soul, the issue of there being a cause relating to a past event.
Well, there's a lot of laws actually that are governed by time.
Yeah.
The law of compensation is one, the law of cause and effect is one, the law of forgiveness, the law of repentance, even divine laws of divine love are governed by time.
And and if time wasn't linear, then the whole working of the law, it wouldn't
even work.
Wouldn't gel.
Yeah, but I'm quite sure that outside of the universe, not that we're ever going to exist outside of it, I'm quite sure that outside of it, the concept of time may be a complete unknown. God designed the laws that govern time, just like God designed the laws that govern all of our existence. Yes. So yes, spirits see time differently, but there's a whole range of reasons why they do.
Yeah.
And the reason why we don't talk about it much is because the majority of people who have channeled it on Earth have no understanding whatsoever as to why these particular spirits say, our view of time is different than you, and so forth.
Yeah.
Yep. And to us, it's a minor issue. You are governed by time, and all of God's laws are affected by time. However, it's more important to understand the laws than it is to have some kind of philosophical argument about time.
Yeah. Okay.